we can get started. So come and join me on your mat over a rolled blanket or a bolster as you choose. So you're going to take your bolster or rolled blanket and put it right at the base of your spine and along the length of your back, lie down over it. Now, if you like to have your head on the floor, then you can make your blankets short enough to be able to do that. And if you prefer to have your head supported, then you can rest your head on your blanket. Oh, sounds like somebody's not on mute. So I will come and check that out in 2 ticks. But I'll get you set up first. So once you've laid down over your blanket support, try to support the length of the spine, allowing the arms to rest out to the side. And you can take a few moments to feel how it feels in this position. But if you don't feel comfortable, particularly in your low back, you can bend your knees and place your feet on the floor for a little bit of extra support in the pelvis. And that can be a really nice way to soften into this practice, particularly if your back has been complaining recently. So maybe a few deep breaths with the knees bent before stretching the legs out. Or if you know that it suits you better to keep your knees bent, then you can do that. And if you haven't got a blanket or a bolster, don't worry, just taking the opportunity to lie on your back. And I will just come and check that everybody is on mute. There we are. Super. So once you've established yourself over your support, focusing on allowing the sides of the body to soften towards the floor. Finding heaviness in the backs of the shoulders and shoulder blades, in the arms and the hands, and in the legs and the feet. Particularly releasing the back of the head into your support or into the floor. And observing your natural breath, or if you've already started a deep breath, then enjoying that deep breath. This kind of passive stretch is really useful if you spend a lot of time sitting or in front of a computer. Any of the other things that we do when the body is slightly forward bending or stooped. And it's also useful if you have any reason to protect your heart. So if you're going through a time of feeling sadness, feeling low, perhaps a time of grieving or heartbreak, this posture can help you to release those feelings in a nice, safe way, to begin to turn the tide towards finding some more happiness and lightness. So taking some deep breaths now, deeper breaths. Softening the features of the face. Releasing as much effort from the body as you can. As you breathe, feel the space down each side of the spine,
And feel how the breath moves you towards your support, moves the back of the body backwards. Maybe moves the sides of the body, the ribs outwards. Each breath in, lifting the chest, maybe the abdomen, the rib cage upwards. Feel the space that your breath has to move into. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breath, the sort of soft snoring breath, you might want to practice that here. If you're not already familiar with it, don't worry. A deep breath is just as good. At the end of your next exhalation, preparing to gently ease yourself off this support. So bending the knees in, placing the feet on the floor if they aren't already, one at a time. And then rolling just a little to the side so you can ease yourself off your support, whatever it may be, and rolling straight back onto your back. Feel the different shape in the spine now, and keeping the feet on the floor and the knees bent up gives us the opportunity to counterpose that previous practice. Allow a sense of easing as the body finds this new shape. Then we're going to bend the knees into the chest, hug them towards us. Just make any movements that feel good with the back. So ironing out that space in the low back if you've perhaps encouraged a little discomfort there. Rocking from side to side and backwards and forwards. We're going to begin with a few hip circles here. So take your hands, place them onto your kneecaps, and then keep your big toes together, take your knees apart. And then roll the knees together and apart. So the knees are going in opposite circles, the toes remain connected. And we're just beginning to stir the thigh bones, the femurs in the hip sockets. Doing a little bit of massaging, you might feel it across the sacral area of the low back. That's the seat of emotion in the body, the sacral area. So it's nice to work with that occasionally. Let's work in the opposite direction. Just stirring a few times. And then releasing the hands from the knees, doing the same thing, but with the knees freer to move maybe a little bit more. Trying to keep the toes towards each other, they don't have to touch. You might need a little bit more control across your abdominal muscles to be able to make bigger movements, and you may prefer not to make bigger movements, that's fine. Let's reverse the motion. And we'll do one more like this before bringing the knees back to the center. You're going to keep the knees now together, the feet together, and make big stirring circles with the knees going in the same direction. This is more purposeful than our back release earlier. We're going to make the circles a little bit smaller and smaller still, feeling what happens in the back of the body as you do that. And then bringing the knees into the smallest possible circle, almost indiscernible, as you rock just across the sacrum itself. And then we'll move in the opposite direction. So bringing the knees to stillness first, making big circles in the opposite direction. Gradually making the knees a little bit, the circles, sorry, a little bit smaller. I'd love to have smaller knees. My father told me I'd never get married because my knees were so knobbly. Making the circles smaller and smaller until they're very, very tiny. Almost indiscernible. So you just feel that massage on the sacrum itself. That's the part of the body that you can feel in contact with the ground. The space between the hip bones. Then we're going to bring the knees to stillness and just draw the knees into the chest and hold them towards you as much as feels comfortable for your body. And then try to ease your tailbone down towards the mat at the same time without letting go, without allowing the knees to come out. And just release. We'll do that one more time, drawing the knees firmly in to wherever is the best position for you, and then pressing the tailbone down towards the mat at the same time. Real active lengthening. It's a very subtle movement. And gently release. We're going to release the legs, 1 foot at a time to the floor, and stretch them away from us. And this is where you might need your belt handy, so just having it by your side. We're going to do a little bit of leg lifting to begin with. So imagine that you're standing, but you're on the floor. So you want your toes pointing up towards the ceiling and the heels pressed away from you slightly. If you've got hypermobility or hyperextension in the back, in the knees, your heels come off the floor when your legs are very straight. So you're going to keep a little just micro bend in the knees so that the heels can stay on the floor. And firm in the belly muscles, press the palms to the sides of the body, to the floor at the sides of the body, and roll the shoulders back into the mat as well. Chin maybe just a touch towards the chest. We're doing some leg lifting poses here. So you're going to breathe in, lift the right leg up, a long straight leg, doesn't matter where it gets to, just lifting. Breathing out as you draw the right knee into the chest, you can use one or both hands to do that. Breathing in, straighten the leg up again, palms are down. Breathing out, release that leg all the way down to the floor straight. Same thing on the left side. Breathing in, lifting up. Breathing out, knee into the chest, easing it towards you with your arms. Breathing in, leg straightens again. Breathing out and down. We go alternate sides. Breathing in right side, firm in the belly. Breathing out, knee to chest. Breathing in, straight right leg. Breathing out and down. Breathing in, lifting the left. Breathing out, knee to chest. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down, firm in the belly. Breathing in right. Breathing out, knee to chest. Breathing in, straight leg. Breathing out, releasing down. Breathing in left. Breathing out, knee to chest. Breathing in, straight leg. Breathing out and down. We now do it with just straight legs. So again, firming your belly muscles, drawing the navel inwards, upwards, softening the shoulders back and down. Breathing in a straight right leg up to wherever it gets to, and breathing out as you release down. Doesn't matter how high up, and you can bend the knee a little if you like. Breathing in left leg up to wherever it gets to. Breathing out and down. Breathing in right. See if you can marry the movement and the breath. So as you breathe out, your heel touches down on the ground at the end of your exhalation. Breathing in left. Allow your breath to finish as the leg gets to the top of its movement. Breathing out, releasing down, heel touching down at the end of your breath. Breathing in right. Breathing out, releasing down. Breathing in left. Breathing out, releasing down. We'll do one more to each side. Belly muscles firm. Breathing in right. Breathing out, releasing down. Breathing in left. Breathing out, releasing down. Very good. And then we're going to try some double leg lifting. So this may or may not be for you. If you have any problems with your low back at all, you can rest out of this, or you can do single leg lifting as we've just done. If you want to try this and you haven't done it before, you can give it a go, but just feel your way. So we're going to take the hands and we're going to place them underneath the outer edges of the hips. And if you want more support, you can bring your hands more under your body, so that you support the buttocks a little bit to keep the low back in contact with the mat. We're going to draw the knees into the chest and lift both legs up to wherever they get to. The knees can be slightly bent here if you need to. What you need to watch out for is your shoulders rolling forward away from the mat. So try to press the backs of the shoulders down into the mat and draw the chin towards the chest. As you firm your belly, you'll feel that more of your spine has come in contact with the mat, which is good. So here, we breathe in this position. We breathe out as we lower the legs to wherever feels comfortable. So as soon as you feel your low back come away from the mat, you want to stop before that point, okay? And then we're going to breathe in to come back up again. Breathing out as you release the legs towards the floor, doesn't matter how far they go. Breathing in and up. Chin is down, shoulders down. Breathing out. Breathing in and up. Firm in the belly, breathing out, releasing down. Breathing in and up. You can do up to 5 more, but don't do too many if you're not used to this. If you feel that you don't enjoy this practice, then don't do any more. Knees into the chest. Lovely job. So just moving with your breath. We'll maybe call this the last one. And then bend the knees into the chest, hug them towards you. And everybody doing a little bit of rocking from side to side or rolling through the knees, whatever feels good. So double leg lifting, important to do it properly. And if you do it well, it's very useful. And if you don't do it well, you're most likely to injure yourself. So really important to do it properly. Super duper. Okay, so we're going to place the feet down on the floor. And at this point, we're going to grab our belts. So a belt or strap or any other kind of device that will give you a little bit more length to your arms. And you can draw your right foot in and wrap the belt around the heel of the foot, if you can. If you find it more useful on the ball of the foot, then you can do that. But the heel of the foot's the best place in terms of acupressure points for your belt. And we want the belt to give us a little bit more length to the arm, so we can hold our leg up to do a little hamstring stretch down the back of the legs. So here we're going to try and hold the belt with our arms as long as possible, so as close to the foot as we can, so that we can relax the shoulders down into the mat and just provide traction. Here, a straighter leg is more useful. So if you can get your leg straight but your belt is longer, that's better than having the knee very bent. A little soft bend in the knee is not a problem. And if you're hypermobile in the knees, you want to keep a little softness there. We're going to draw the toes back towards the body, so really pressing through the heel, and you'll find that that activates the stretch down the back of the leg even more. Here, try to find a long, deep breath. Soften the features of the face. Maybe softening the abdominal muscles and the chest a little as well. After your next exhalation, slide your left leg along the mat so it becomes straight, and press into the left heel as well, so the toes are up towards the ceiling. And if that feels like the stretch has become too intense, you can bend your left knee in again, place the foot on the floor. Another softening breath. And then we're going to breathe in as we draw the head towards the knee. And if you want to, you can draw your leg a little bit more towards you, if that feels like it's something that you can easily do. If you can reach your leg well at this point, you can hold your leg instead of your belt. It's no problem, whichever suits you best. Long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. One more like this. Long, deep breath in. And as you release your breath, release the hands and the head down. We're going to pass the belt into the right hand. So right leg, right hand. If you've done the other leg, just do it the opposite way. Firm the belly, and then let the right foot come out to the right without lifting the left hip away from the floor. If you can, get your right elbow to the floor. It's very useful to soften that shoulder down and help to support your leg. If you find that your leg has come all the way down towards the floor, the likelihood is that you've let your belt become a bit long, and so you're not quite getting a stretch in the place that we'd like. So make sure that you're still easing your foot towards the head end of your body as well. So here, a little bit of firmness across the belly, and breathing deeply. One more deep breath in. Really pressing through the heels of both feet, a deep breath out. And make sure the belly's very firm to draw the leg back to the center. And then we're going to pass the belt into the left hand. Allow the right foot to come over the left hip, not really any further than that. If you find that you can roll the foot all the way down, the likelihood again is that you've given yourself a little bit of length in the belt. So keep drawing the foot towards the head, just over the left hip, reaching the right hand out to the right to anchor that shoulder. And you don't really want your right hip away from the floor here. The back of the hip should still be down. Deep breath in. And deep breath out. Then if you want to, you can give your belt a little bit more length and see how far your foot can come over, maybe into a little bit of a spinal twist here, just a touch, just to find what feels good to you. We'll take one deep breath in, one deep breath out, and then with belly engaged, coming back to the center, going to bend the right knee into the chest, which will feel really nice right now. Release the belt from that side Bend both knees in. And just give yourself a little bit of a shimmer. So it could be a rock from side to side. It could be something like stirring the knees or swaying the tailbone from side to side. And you might want to roll your head from side to side as well to release anything you have holding in the back of the neck. Then we're going to place the right foot on the floor so the knee is bent and wrap the belt around the left heel to do the whole thing to the left side. So begin by holding your belt as close to your foot as you can, wrapping the belt around the heel if you can, and flexing the heel so the toes are back towards the body, lengthening through the back of that leg. And you'll notice that one leg is maybe more open or more able to move than the other. And it's just a point of information, gives you some insight into the rest of your practice. Relax your shoulders into the mat and taking some long, deep breaths. Don't be cheating by relaxing your toes, keeping them back towards the head. Relax your face. Relax the abdominal muscles. Sometimes when you ease tension from those parts of the body, you find the stretch just a touch easier to hold. After your next exhalation, you can try extending your right leg straight along the mat, flexing through the heel of that foot too. If that doesn't feel comfortable or if it becomes too much of an intense stretch, then by all means bend that knee, place the foot on the floor again. By moving through this stretch in stages, give an opportunity for the muscle fibers to align, to lengthen gently. On our next inhalation, firming the belly, drawing the head towards the knee. And if you can easily reach your leg, then you can hold your leg or your foot instead of the belt. Taking a long, deep breath in. And a long breath out, flexing through both heels. Long, deep breath in. And as you exhale, releasing the hands and the head down. You're going to pass the belt, both parts of the belt, into the left hand. And allow your left leg to come out to your left side. Maybe the elbow comes to the floor, maybe it doesn't matter. Trying to keep the right hip in contact with the ground. And also trying not to lengthen the belt too much. We don't really want this leg to flop to the floor. It's not doing anything anymore. So we want the belt to be nice and short, so the leg's still in this opened position. You can relax your right arm out to the right if it's helpful to keep your right hip down. Flex through both heels. Long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. We'll do another one. Long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. Then firming the belly, bringing the foot back to center. You're going to pass the belt into the right hand and allow the left leg to come just over the right hip. Doesn't really need to come anymore. You'll feel that opens down the IT band, down the outside of your left hip. You can release your left arm out to the left if it's helpful here. Again, if it feels easy, you've maybe let go of the belt a little bit. You can bring the foot back towards the head a bit more. Long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. And then if you want to explore a little bit you can roll a little bit onto that side and just let the leg come over a little bit towards the right. Feels like a nice twist sometimes in the spine here. Looking towards your left hand can help too. We'll take one more deep breath in. And slow breath out. Firm in the belly to return to center. Bend the left knee into your chest. You can release your belt. Just leave it to one side or throw it away. And bend in the right knee as well. And then just doing anything that feels good. A little shimmer and shake, a little roll, rock and roll. And if you'd like to, you can draw the head towards the knees as you exhale. And inhale, release down. Head to knees as you exhale. And inhale, release down. You're going to leave the head on the floor and just roll the head from side to side. And then take the left foot to the floor. We're going to bend, keep the right knee very bent, draw the knee right up towards the right armpit. And if you can, hold onto your foot here for half happy baby. Now, if you can't easily reach your foot, then you can use your belt again around the heel of the foot. And the idea is that you have your foot as if you were standing on it, the knee close to the right armpit, or as close as possible. The left knee has a tendency to fall out to the left here, so try to keep your left knee pointing up towards the ceiling. And then just holding as you breathe. If you can easily reach your foot, you can hold the outside of the foot and draw the foot towards, draw the knee, towards the floor behind you. Or if you prefer, you can hold the inside of your foot, get a slightly different stretch there. So explore what the best position for you is. And enjoying the sort of openness that you get across the pelvis. Relaxing the abdominal muscles as you breathe deeply into this open stretch. Sometimes it helps to smile or relax the face when you're holding stretches. We'll take one more deep breath in. And slow breath out. I'm going to release this stretch. It's a strong stretch. And take the right ankle over the left knee. Now, for some of you, that might not be appropriate. I'm thinking of particularly those with hips. We've all got hips, but those with hips that complain. So in this case, just leaving your feet side by side for this practice. So the first bit of this you won't do, and then the twist you will. So we're going to draw the left foot off the floor. So we draw both feet towards us. And it might be that you leave your left leg nice and bent, and that might feel like a good stretch. This is a figure 4 stretch. Most people do this with their hands in between and lifting the chest up. We're just going to try it with the upper body nice and relaxed. So we can do a little sway with the knees from side to side to feel how that feels on the hips. Maybe a little circular motion with the left knee, if that feels good. Don't move past any resistance you get in the body. Try to take yourself to a feeling not too intense in this stretch. If you want to, you can lengthen the left leg. That can be nice. That can access some things for people that you can't otherwise get. Otherwise, just playing with this in much more sort of dynamic movement in this stretch. Then we're going to take the foot to the floor, and if you have been resting out of this, you can simply bring your knees hip width apart, and firm the belly here, and then allow the knees to come down to the left side of the body. Here, sometimes it's helpful to firm the shoulders towards the floor and turn the head towards the right side. If you prefer a neutral neck, that's okay too. Take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. One more deep breath in and a slow breath out. So here, the stretch or the twist that we get is dependent on how close to our torso the knees are. So you can explore how it feels to have the knees slightly further down away from you. Maybe that's the twist that takes you to places you would love to go. And maybe drawing the knees a little bit closer up towards you is more appropriate, or accesses bits that you'd like to access. I feel like a Carlin Black Label advert at the moment. There we are. So just having an explore here, investigating what is the right position for your body. And then when you get there, taking a moment to release in that posture. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. We're going to firm the belly, return the knees back to the center, uncross the legs, and just give a little sway of the knees from side to side. And in the center, we're going to do a dynamic bridge pose. So bringing yourself back to a neutral position, arms down by the sides. Tuck your chin in slightly, roll your shoulders back into the mat. Firm your belly, firm the heels into the floor, and breathe in as you lift the hips up, opening the chest, opening the belly, and breathing out and down. We'll do 4 more like that. Breathing in and up, lifting through the buttocks, lifting the chest. Breathing out and down. Breathing in and up. Check your knees don't fall apart here. Breathing out and down. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. Last one. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. Fantastic. So let's do the happy baby pose to the opposite side. We'll bend the left knee in. Want the foot to be pointing up to the ceiling, or as if it was pointing up to the ceiling. You can wrap your belt or your strapping around the left heel and allow that to draw the left knee right up towards the left armpit. And you can use as much length on the belt as you need. The important thing is to have your knee bent here and to have your foot flexed as if you were standing on a ceiling. On the ceiling. Try to avoid letting your right knee fall out to the right. It feels better, but generally it just means it's easier. So keeping that stabilized. And if you can easily reach your foot, you might want to hold the outside of your foot. Feel if that feels quite nice. Maybe it helps you draw the knee towards the floor behind you. Or you can use the hand hold on the inside of the foot. So doing whatever feels good to you. Remembering to keep it not too intense, because as we hold this stretch, if you hold right as stretchy as you can be and you hold it for a few deep breaths, when you release, it's not always the most pleasant feeling. So let's take a few deep breaths here, softening the shoulders, relaxing the face and the belly. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. We'll do just one more. And then gently releasing the stretch on this side. Allowing your knee to come, your foot to come and rest across your right thigh. So ideally here, the ankle or the bottom part of the shin is resting on the thigh. If you rest your foot, more likely to rotate your ankle, stretch your ankle in not such a good way. So resting the ankle or lower shin if you can. And if you don't want to do this one, if it doesn't suit your hips, just staying with your feet side by side on the floor. So arms out to the side, a little firmness in the belly. Draw the right foot off the floor and just feel how that feels on the left hip. So we're going to do a little shimmer from side to side, or rotations with your right knee. Feeling how that feels, a much more dynamic stretch. You can lengthen the right leg if that feels good. Some people enjoy that a little bit better and make it feel easier. Generally, that's one that suits you better if your hamstrings are nice and open. And when you're ready, you can float your right foot back to the floor. And if you've rested out of this one, joining us for a spinal twist with the feet hip width apart, firming the belly here and allowing the knees to come down on the right side. And if that feels good, you want to explore with your head, turning your head to the left. Perhaps that's the position for you. Perhaps more neutral suits you better. Choose whichever is the most comfortable. Soften the features of the face. Relax the abdominal muscles a little bit. And breathe deeply here. And you might want to explore how it feels to have the knees slightly further away from you. I personally like this stretch with the knees lower down. It feels so lovely and so open. And perhaps that doesn't suit you so well. Maybe the knees closer up to your chest is better for you. Just take some time to feel your way into the position that feels the best. At the end of your next exhalation, preparing to move, firming the belly muscles and drawing the knees back to the center. I'm going to uncross the legs. We're going to lengthen the legs this time, lengthening them along the mat. And take a few deep breaths here and stretch our arms at the same time. So allow your heels to be on the floor and press the low back down into the mat. Breathe in, reach the arms over the head. Feel a stretch down the back of the body as you press the spine towards the mat. Doesn't matter if your hands don't reach the floor. Breathing out, arms down by the side. Do 2 more like that. Breathing in, reaching up, pressing the back of the body down, maybe even the back of the neck. Press gently towards the floor and breathing out and down. Breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. This time we're going to relax the legs a little bit more in between, give ourselves a bit of a shimmer. We're going to do the same thing but point the toes. When we point the toes and release the arms over the head, the back will naturally curve away from the floor. That's what we want, okay? So breathing in, pointing the toes down, stretching the front of the body, feel that lift away from the mat, breathing out and down. Relax the feet. Breathing in, pointing the toes, stretching the front of the body away from the mat, breathing out and down. We'll do one more time, breathing in and up. Breathing out and down. And then here in the center, we're going to imagine that we're standing, but in this perpendicular position. So bringing the feet towards each other, the thighs together, arms down by the sides. Maybe turn the palms upwards or towards the body, and see if you can relax the backs of the shoulders down. Firm the belly, lengthen through the back of the neck. And we're doing mountain pose, but we're lying down. So it should feel quite active. And take a few moments to feel the body in this position. And then we're going to do a supine tree posture. So bending your right knee in, taking the right foot to the inside of the left thigh and letting the right knee come out to the side to wherever's good. This is where you might need your block. So if your knee is a long way from the floor, you might want to put a block underneath it for support, or a bolster or something like this. So supporting your knee if you need to, because you don't want it to pull on the right side of the pelvis. We're going to keep the left hip down into the mat, firm in the belly, and bring our hands to Namaste, lengthen through the back of the neck. And then from here, we're going to reach the arms up if you want to. So you don't have to, but up over the head. You can either have your palms together, or you can take your hands apart, drop the shoulder blades down the back, and imagine that you're standing in tree pose, but you're practicing it in this position instead. So it gives you the feeling of being in the posture in terms of the dynamics of the body, but without the need to balance on one foot. Close your eyes or gaze at one point and take 3 deep breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, if your hands are up, dropping them to the center of the chest. If they're there already, that's okay. Firm your belly muscles. Take your right hand underneath your right thigh and ease your right knee back to center. And then in the center, stretching your legs away and releasing the arms down to the side, just for a moment. Feel the difference between the two sides of the body. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So first we're going to take mountain pose. So pressing the heels away, making the feet as if you were standing on them. Turning the palms slightly forward or perhaps towards the body. Pressing the backs of the shoulders down, lengthening through the back of the neck. A little firmness in the belly. Maybe you feel a little lift in the chest. And then we're going to bend the left knee in. Take the left foot towards the inner right thigh. And if you need to support your knee with something underneath it, you can. I'm going to support this side because it feels a little bit less comfortable on this side than the previous side. Making sure that the right hip stays in contact with the ground. Bringing the hands to Namaste. Don't lose contact with that right foot. Make sure it still feels like you're standing on it. And then if you want to, you can raise the arms over the head, either with the palms together or separating the hands, whichever feels most comfortable for you. See if you can glide the shoulder blades a little down the back to give you that sense of lift in the chest. And then taking a few deep breaths here. We'll take another 3 deep breaths. Softening the features of your face, gazing at one point or closing the eyes. at the end of your next exhalation, firming the belly muscles, bringing the hands down to namaste if they weren't already there. Using the left hand underneath the left thigh to ease the knee back to center. And then stretching the left leg away from you, releasing the hands. And we better bend our knees into our chest and release the back as well. So knees into the chest, hugging them towards you. Make any movements that feel good with your back, with your legs. You can iron out any of the grumbles. And then holding the knees towards the body, just gently turning the head from one side to the other, a couple of times in each direction. We're going to give ourselves a gentle swaying twist here. Feet to the floor, arms released away from the body to a point that feels comfortable for you. And with firmness in the belly, just swaying the knees a little. It doesn't need to be far. If you want to go all the way down, then you can, but you don't have to. Do what feels like it's going to be the best release for your body. Keep the abdominal muscles working. It really helps to stabilize this motion. And if the knees are the feet and the knees are far apart, you get a much more fluid twist across the low back. You can explore how that feels compared to drawing the knees together and the feet together. And when you do that, it's a much more, I don't know if you can feel it, much more closed twist. And some people prefer them. So if you want to do a few of those, you can. At the end of your next cycle, just drawing the knees into the chest, hugging them towards you again. And we're going to draw the head towards the knees, and then we're going to rock backwards and forwards through the whole length of the spine a few times before coming up into sitting or standing if you can, because that's where we're going. So with the belly muscles firm, drawing your head towards your knees and just using a little bit of movement in the legs to create some momentum. So you can rock all the way back towards the shoulders and then all the way up onto the sitting bones if you can. And we'll do this a few times to really massage down the sides of the spine. Difficult to talk and do this at the same time. And then when you're ready, you can come up into standing or sitting, as the case may be. Awesome sauce. I'm sorry, I've lost my hair, so it just have to be messy for the rest of the class. Okay, so well done, guys. We did a lot of work there on the floor, and working on the floor is really nice because you get to use the floor to help to iron out those kinks and generally be supportive. So we're going to practice tree pose now. We're going to practice a balance first, sorry, and then we're going to do tree pose. So the first thing you need is a block or something firm that's not too deep. So you could do it with the block on its side like this, but we're going to do it today, I think, with the block just on its flattest side. Awesome sauce. So here, we're going to take the block and put it in front of the right foot, but with the feet relatively close together. So not really, really touching, but maybe just inside hip width apart. Hands onto the hips, and then we're going to place the right foot on top of the block. So a little bend in the knee there. And here, if you put your foot up on your block, this is actually a really useful technique for any time you have to stand for a long time. So if you put both feet back down on the floor, we tend not to stand with both feet on the floor exactly the same. We tend to sink into one hip and do this really
nasty thing for our low back. So that sets the pelvis on a funny angle, and the back spine has to curve to compensate. We get uneven use of the muscles. So bringing the hips to center and standing on both feet at the same time, in the same way with the same amount of weight, even distribution, is much healthier for our backs, but we don't tend to do that. So anytime you have to stand for a long time, I was prepping foraged greens yesterday. I stood for about 3 hours. And so 1 foot up helps us to put even effort through the pelvis. And you can swap as you go through your whatever you're doing. So a very healthy thing to do. It's more restful and kinder for the low back as well. So here we've got our 1 foot up, our right foot up. We're going to focus on the left hip being over the left ankle. So as you look down your left leg, just making sure you can see that you haven't swung your hip out to the side. And when we do that, we feel stability in our center. So you can lift from the center of the foot, engage all the way up this left leg, engage in the belly muscles. We're going to leave our hands on the hips. Roll the shoulder blades down the back, and maybe just gently draw the elbows slightly back as well. Keeps the beautiful lift in the center. And we're going to float the weight of the right foot up onto the toes. Use a point of focus ahead of you that is not moving. And then simply lift the toes up. So the foot is now completely free from the block. And breathe as you hold. If you need to, you can touch your toes back down again. You can put your whole foot back down again. And if balancing is really difficult for you, you can simply come up onto your toes, leave the toes on the block, and you will be balancing and working towards releasing, freeing that foot. We'll take another deep breath in and a slow breath out before releasing the right foot back down to the block. And then standing onto both feet. Notice the difference between the two sides of the body, because it's nice to do that. And we'll then take a little step to the side. I feel like we're doing the time warp now. We've had all the good things this morning. And then placing your left foot on top of the block, looking down the right leg to make sure that your right hip is over your right foot. Feeling that lift from the center of the right foot all the way up into the crown of the head. Hands onto the hips, firm in the belly, rolling the shoulder blades down, maybe elbows slightly drawn back. Find your point of focus ahead of you that is not moving. Hold your gaze steady there and float up onto the tiptoes of your left foot. When you're ready, simply flex your foot to release the feet, the toes from the block, and holding as you breathe. Remember, you can touch your toes down at any time. And it might be that you need to keep the toes on the block, but with that sense of lift. Let's take another couple of deep breaths here. At the end of your next exhalation, just dropping your left foot back to the block, then standing onto both feet. I was a way to go there. Standing onto both feet and just wiggling out your hips a little bit. Super duper. Okay, so this is a really useful technique. If you are, if balancing is something that is really challenging for you, you can always hold onto a wall, always, or a chair or something similar for support. But if you want to train the body to get better at balancing, then this is really useful. So we're going to put the blocks to one side, but anyone who wants to do that instead of tree pose is most welcome to. We're going to try our first tree pose of the day, and we're going to do it several different ways, or second tree pose of the day after our full one. So we're going to take the weight onto our left leg first. Trying to keep the hip over the ankle, so trying not to sink into that hip. Hip over the ankle, standing tall, and turning out the right knee to wherever to the side works for you. So it might be pointing forward if your hips prefer that, to rotating out to the side. And making the toes on the floor, but the heel resting against the space just above your left ankle. Squeeze the buttock and thigh of your standing leg, that's your left leg, firm in the belly and hands to Namaste. Using a point of focus ahead of you that's not moving. And just observe how it feels to be in this variation of the posture. With balances, as with many things, sometimes taking a variation that you are able to hold and balance is better than striving for a variation that you can't hold and you fall out of. We'll take another deep breath in. And exhaling, turning the right knee forward, standing onto both feet, releasing the hands down to the side. You can still feel a difference between the two sides of the body. Bear that in mind, because that might be the most appropriate variation for you to try if you're working at home on another day. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So right leg is the standing leg, making the hip come over the ankle, firm in the right buttock, firm in the belly, turning out the left knee to wherever is appropriate, with the toes on the floor, the heel resting against the right shin, or inner leg. Hands to Namaste, and using your point of focus, shoulder blades gliding down the back, crown of the head lifted. Taking a few deep breaths here. At the end of your next exhalation, turning your knee forward, stepping onto both feet, releasing the hands down. Observing the difference between the two sides of the body. And at this point, it's probably appropriate for us to do a forward bend. So you'll notice that sometimes your body holds a little bit of something after a practice. That's why we do pose and counter pose in yoga. So we're going to have the feet a comfortable distance apart, maybe double hip width, something like that. Nice soft in the knees. Breathe in, take a deep stretch. Breathe in, reach the arms out and up, looking up, smiling, and as you breathe out, fold forward from your hips. Do a little swallow dive down to the floor. Folding over the legs, softening in the knees, doing anything that feels good here. Maybe you want to gently sway from side to side. Relaxing the top of the head towards the floor, lengthening out the back of the neck. You can also sway your head from side to side. If you prefer to hold in stillness in the center, that's okay. Take another deep breath in. Sigh out through your mouth. We'll do one more like that. Deep breath in. Sighing out. Then we're going to bend the knees really deeply. Chin in towards the chest and roll up, firm in the belly, firm in the buttocks, stacking the vertebrae one at a time until you come up into standing. Rolling the shoulder blades back and down, just taking a moment, sorting out your hair if you need to. If you don't, that's fine. And then we'll come, I like to do my balances off the mat, which is why I keep stepping off the mat. So we come back to tree pose number 3. So we're going to stand on the right leg this time as our first leg, drawing the buttock and thigh over the ankle, squeezing the buttock and thigh, feeling that lift, using your point of focus ahead of you. You're going to turn out the left knee to wherever feels comfortable and rest the left foot on the calf or the shin of the right leg. Now here, If you know that freestanding tree is not for you, you can do the previous version. We'll be coming to the wall next anyway. So you can reach for the wall if you need to. You're going to bring the hands to Namaste. Lift the chest. And then keeping that firmness in the buttock, firmness in the abdominal muscles. Reaching the arms up if you want to. You can keep the palms together. Maybe draw the hands over the head. Maybe they feel more comfortable in front. That's okay. If you prefer, you can separate the hands, dropping the shoulders down the back. And breathe deeply. Softening the features of your face. Maybe smiling. Happy trees. At the end of your next exhalation, gently bringing the palms together, turn the left knee forward, step onto both feet and release the hands down. Release the arms to the side. Feel the difference between the two sides of the body. And that effort, that difference is becoming more pronounced. The effort's becoming more intense. So if you need to give yourself a little bit of a wiggle, you can give yourself a bit of a wiggle, no problem. And then we'll do the same thing to the other side. So squeezing the buttock and thigh of the left leg, drawing the left hip over the left ankle, firming in the belly muscles, finding your point of focus, turning out the right knee, placing the right foot against the low part of the left leg. And then here, bringing the hands to Namaste when you're ready. Feeling that lift, remembering that you can do the previous version or reach for the wall if you need to. And in your own time, you can raise the arms over the head. Palms can stay together. And if the palms are together, the elbows are likely to be soft. But if you want to, you can lengthen the arms a little bit more. Trying to keep the shoulder blades down the back. If you prefer, you can separate the hands, gliding the shoulder blades down. Smiling, soft in the face, firm in the body. Breathing deeply. At the end of your next exhalation, bringing the hands down to Namaste, turning the right knee forward and stepping onto both feet. Releasing the arms, doing any wiggles that may need wiggling. I can see some wiggling going on. That's very good wiggling. Well done. Okay, so again with the forward bend. So we're going to do another forward bend with the feet nice and wide on the mat. Soft in the knees. Breathe in, stretch up, reach up with the arms, open the chest. Still bending in the knees, fold forward as you exhale from the hips. Float yourself down like a bird to the floor. And when you come into your forward bend, you might like to do a little bit of swaying from side to side. You may prefer to hold in the center. Just do whatever feels good with you. Maybe you want to move a little bit more in the upper body with the neck or with the shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here, maybe finding some stillness if you want to. Sighing out through your mouth. One more like that, breathing in. And then bending the knees deeply, firming the belly, firming the buttocks, letting the head and shoulders drape forward as you roll back up to standing. And at the top, opening the palms forward, dropping the shoulders down, lifting through the crown of the head. Adjusting your hair if you need to. Okay, so for our final tree of the day, for anyone who wants to, they can use their belt again. And if you prefer not to, that's fine. You can use the wall here, and you can use the wall in two ways. You can either put your knee on the wall for support, and then you can stand away from the wall, or you can hold the wall and use the opposite knee as your knee that you're working with. So you guys have all done tree with the wall. You know which one is the best for you. If you don't wish to use the wall, that's fine. You don't have to. A chair will do. Or you can do a freestanding tree if you're quite happy to do a freestanding tree. The belt can be used around the ankle to draw the foot up a little bit higher. And so you can help by using the same hand as your leg to hold your foot in place a little bit higher up your leg. So we've only really got a few choices of foot position for tree. So we can either be with the heel right up towards the groin area, pressing the thigh and the bent leg together, or you have to be below the knee. So below the knee, or with the foot on the floor. So whichever of these three suits you best. If you want your belt to help lift your leg up, then you can. And I will do it like that so that you can see how to do that if you like. So we're going to take the weight onto the left leg first, squeezing the left buttock and thigh, lifting tall, turning out the right foot, using our point of focus and drawing our bent leg, our right foot, up as high as feels comfortable. It can't be on the left knee, has to either be above or below. Holding with the belt if you want to do that. And we're going to use our left arm to do the things that we would normally do. So you can either have your hand over your heart if you would normally hold Namaste, or if you want to, you can reach your arm up over the head, reaching tall with the left side of the body. Holding as you breathe, firm in the buttocks, the belly muscles, drawing the shoulder blades down and holding your gaze on a point that's not moving. A tree, if possible, ideal. Taking another long, deep breath in and a long, slow breath out. And when you're ready, you can release your arm down. Release your leg, turn the knee forward and step onto both feet. Take a moment in the center to feel the difference between the two sides of the body. And I'm going to share with you that balancing is my probably least able element of yoga. So I just, for years, it was a running joke with anyone who knew me that I couldn't balance on my feet at all, despite doing lots of yoga. And I was once used as an example by another teacher of how not to do things. Anyway, this is all good. So with some practice, it can become good. And the hints and tips that we use are the things that are useful, like a point of focus and centering the hip. So we'll work to the opposite side. Center your right hip over your right ankle, squeezing the buttock and the thigh and the abdominal muscles, using your point of focus and drawing your left knee out to the left. And if you're using the belt, drawing the heel up as high as you can so that your left foot is not on your right knee, very important, but above or below. With your gaze on your point of focus, you can bring your right hand to your heart. Or you can raise your right arm over your head. Try pressing your foot into your standing leg. Gliding the shoulder blades down, remaining firm in your center, soft in your gaze, breathing deeply. Sorry, I've just got a midge. When you're ready to release out, dropping your top hand, drawing your left knee to point forward and stepping onto both feet. Making any wriggles that you might need to. And when we do our forward bend this time, we're going to come down to the mat for relaxation. So making sure that you have anything that you need for relaxation close by. put these bits here. You might want a bolster underneath the legs, in which case have that close by. You might want your blankets to keep you nice and warm. So we're going to have the feet nice and far apart. Breathe in, take the arms out and up, soften the knees, and then as you breathe out, folding forward from the hips, floating yourself down to the floor, coming into your forward bend and just making any swaying motions that feel good to you. Easing out tension from the spine, the hips, the neck. And then instead of coming up this time, we're going to bring the knees down to the floor, or just come down to the floor in a way that feels good to you. Settle down onto our backs, and then knees into the chest, roll down onto the back. And if you've got a little bit of tension left in the back, maybe you want to hold the knees and sway from side to side, or make some circles, iron out those kinks. And if you're ready to do relaxation, you might want to just bring the support that you need underneath the body. And release yourself down for Shavasana. So take a few moments to find a position that's really comfortable, because we want to hold Shavasana in stillness. We'll do a little tense and relax today. So tensing the muscles of the right foot and leg, hold the leg off your support, hold it tense, 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 relax and drop down. Tensing the muscles of the left foot and leg, hold your leg off your support, hold it tense, 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 relax and drop down. Squeeze the buttocks and lift the hips up. And relax. Draw your shoulder blades towards each other underneath your body. Lift your chest up. And relax. Make tight fists out of the hands and lift the arms off the mat, just where they are. Shrug your shoulders up towards your ears. Press them down towards your hips, open your palms wide, spread your fingers, relax and drop down. Press your low back down into the mat, and at the same time, lengthen through the back of the neck so the spine is easing towards the floor. And you'd be a very rare person if you can actually get the whole of the back of your neck in contact with the floor. It's not what we're aiming for, it's the intention of downward. Keep the head on the floor as you hold this and breathe. And relax. Screw all the muscles of your face in towards your nose. Make a tight lemon-sucking face. And open the eyes, open the mouth, stick out the tongue and exhale. And relax. Let's do one more like that. Screw all the muscles of the face in towards the nose, and eyes open, mouth open, tongue out, exhale. And relax. Close your eyes and gently roll your head from one side to the other. Slow rotations. A couple in each direction, or as many as you need. And when you're ready, you can bring your head back to center and make any adjustments you need to your posture. Keeping the feet a good distance apart, with the toes falling out to the side. Relaxing the arms away from the body so that your shoulders are nice and relaxed against the floor. Palms might be turned upwards or turned towards the body. The head in line with the rest of the spine.
And bring your body to stillness. Closing your eyes if you haven't already done so. Take a deep breath in. Sigh gently as you exhale. Repeat 3 more times. A deep breath in. Let all of your effort go. A deep breath in. Let your muscles begin to relax. Last breath in and surrender down into your mat. Allow your breath to fall into its natural, spontaneous rhythm and fall away into silence. Take your awareness into your forehead. Feel it soften and spread. Feel the area around your eyes relaxing. Your mouth, tongue, and jaw releasing. Move your awareness into the back of your body. Become aware of all of the parts of the back of your body that are in contact with your mat or support. Feel that sensation of contact. Allow the body to soften in those places. Move your awareness to all of the parts of the back of the body that are not in contact with support. Become aware of the sensation of space between you and the floor, at the back of the neck, the wrists, the Achilles, the soles of the feet. Allow the whole of the back of the body to feel heavy, warm, supported, releasing down. Move your awareness to the front of your body, becoming aware of the space over you, around you. Feel the touch of air on your face. Feel the movement of your clothes on your skin as you breathe. Feel the sensation of holding space in the palms of the hands. Move your awareness to your breath and gently deepen your breath, inhaling long and slow, exhaling long and slow. Inhaling long and slow, exhaling long and slow. For the remainder of relaxation today, you can use a mantra with your breath. As you breathe in, repeating mentally the mantra so, and as you breathe out, ham. Breathing in so, breathing out, ham. Breathing in so, breathing out, ham. Relaxing your face and allowing your body to soften deeper with every breath. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness back to your hands and your feet. Begin by wiggling your fingers and toes and then roll your wrists and your ankles. When you feel ready, take a long deep breath in and stretch the arms over the head. Stretch the body in any way that feels good. Maybe yawning to stretch the face as well. When you're ready, you can bend your knees into your chest. You can hug them towards you. Make any movements that feel good with your back. Hopefully, your backs are feeling quite delicious after this practice. And then in your own time, roll onto one side, just curling up for a few moments, letting your body come round a little at a time. When you feel ready, keeping your eyes gently closed, coming up into any comfortable seated position. Bringing the palms together, rubbing them vigorously, pressing them firmly, rubbing them hard, getting heat into the hands, movement into the arms. Sense of vitality, energy, placing the hands over the eyes.
Feeling that contact or warmth soften and release the area around the eyes. Blink into your palms a few times before you release your hands down as you open your eyes. Namaste, guys. Thank you for joining me for this practice.